Welcome, Iga's Army of the Night, to the Bloodstained Community Broadcast, Episode 9, and today I am joined by Goobsausage from the forums. Welcome, Goob.
Hello.
I really like your panties on your head there. Thanks for wearing those.
Yes.
It's very in line with your forum avatar.
Yes.
Man, it's been so long since I recorded an episode. It's so great to be able to talk to everyone like this again.
I think it's cool to talk to me.
It is a privilege and an honor, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, the forum weirdo, the local village idiot.
Nah. Definitely the weirdo, though.
Yeah.
The big news is the so-called delay. Everyone's calling it a delay for Bloodstained, and I guess that's what it is. It's delayed from the Kickstarter date that was entered when the Kickstarter campaign came in. We'll obviously be talking about that tonight, but we'll also touch on some of the good stuff from what's been going on over at the boards. What was the announcement that Iga made, just to bring everybody up to speed?
He said that Bloodstained is aiming for the first half of 2018. I'm actually cool with it, because to me it feels less like a delay and more like a clarification of when it's going to come out.
Yeah, aside from the Kickstarter date, they had never really mentioned another date, so I just think that it's given a clear window of when he's shooting for. And waiting until this late in the campaign to actually give a window is much better than trying to do that way up front, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's more like wait for things to solidify a bit, get a better idea of where things are going, and then come out and say, all right, this is what it's looking at. I like how he did it himself, kind of directly.
Yeah, I like how he gets on the Ask Igas and the YouTube updates. That's really cool how he does those videos. But he said it was due to quality concerns. He said due to those quality concerns, Iga's adding a new development team to the main production. And that development team hasn't been chosen or announced yet. So we don't know exactly who they are or how much work they'll be doing.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be like how in X-Men there's multiple teams, like X-Men, the X-Factor, Excalibur, the blue team and gold team. Maybe like Iga Blue, Iga Gold.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just like the party bus and the work bus. I don't know. Or the party team and the, oh dang, we have to actually work team.
Yeah, well, Mana clarified that when she was on, she said that Artplay was the main developer. So I know that they don't have a heavy amount of staffing, so I guess that they just control the direction. Those things would be nice to have some clarification on.
Yeah, so I guess that makes Artplay the party team then.
Yeah, Artplay is definitely the party team. They get to eat all the cool donuts and travel around the world. So Iga wanted to emphasize that the decision was made to absolutely guarantee that it was done right the first time. So he's gotten a lot of support from us backers and those that are always on the forums and stuff. And yeah. I have seen just a little bit of negative backlash, but not really. I think overwhelmingly it's been positive.
Yeah, I'd say the same. I mean, I think the most important thing with Bloodstained is for Igarashi to make the game he actually wants to make and the way he makes it. Because I'm a very nitpicky person and I can understand where he's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and another thing I'm happy about is how Iga says he wants to get it done the first time, because there's been a lot of games that have been botched at launch in the whole modern gaming era, where either something's not happening right, something's not saving, or there's a bunch of glitches, or something's not balanced well. And it takes like a month or two to actually get the actual game we have now, iron out all the kinks.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing that some AAA games can get out and then all of a sudden people's faces are disappearing on their models and whatnot. And they're like, how did they not see this during testing? But what do I know about game development? It's probably a little bit more complicated than, it looks. Hindsight's 2020 when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, a good first impression is very important. I'm glad he wants to make that good professional impression.
It's not his first rodeo, so I'm sure he's had to deal with that kind of thing in the past. Mm-hmm. So as far as the Kickstarter date was concerned of March 2017, the original date that was added to Kickstarter, a long time ago in the boards, someone was asking, do we honestly think that it's going to be out by March 2017? And Fangamer Steve actually stepped in to give his input on that.
What did he say?
For those that don't know Fangamer, Steve, on the boards, Fangamer runs the Kickstarter. So they're in charge of setting all that up and pushing the updates and all of that. So Steve's been very involved, and it's great to have him on the boards. And on January 25th of 2016, he said, quote, "We don't currently have any specific information regarding the game's release date, as it's currently way too early to accurately predict. I'm not on the development team or anything, but I do have some experience that might help put things in perspective. Here's the important things to keep in mind. Number one, Kickstarter requires you to pick an estimated fulfillment date, month and year, for each reward tier. So we have to make our best guess on the current scope of the project. Once a tier is live, at least one person backs it. The information that you wrote is automatically immutable. You can't change anything. This is why the $150 tier still lists including a softcover art book instead of the hardcover art book, even though the hardcover stretch goal was reached within the first couple of hours after the campaign launched." And then he said, number two, the Kickstarter ended up being super successful. However, hitting each stretch goal significantly increases the project's scope. More funding is great, but because of the lifeblood of any project of this scale, adding more things can also mean adding more development time, and more money doesn't necessarily translate into faster development. And this is my side note. Now that we're adding another developer, it depends on how much more resources we have. So that's one of the questions that it would be nice to ask the team. But number three, Steve said, estimating an accurate delivery date for a creative project, especially with a new IP, is extremely difficult. Whether you're a professional or an amateur, guessing the date for when your creative magnum opus project will be completed is nearly impossible until it's very close to completion. It's also pretty dangerous to announce your best guess too soon, as it's likely to be inaccurate, because the public may conflate, that's a word, the inaccuracy as lying or failure if it doesn't match what you had originally said. So that was Steve's input way back in January, and you can tell just straight up from his first, the first thing he said was like, we don't have a specific game release date, and explained that Kickstarter requires that they give something. So they just made their best guess. That's back when the goal to meet this project was so low back then, and we blew it out of the water. So it became a much bigger thing than when they actually chose that date to start with.
Yeah, it's like, I remember seeing Bloodstained when its campaign first launched and thinking, oh man, I really hope they meet the $800,000 goal so we can get David Hayter as a stretch goal, because I really like that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have 5.5 million. It's like, yay!
Yeah, and counting. God, I bet I'd like to see some numbers after that demo was released and they gave people the second chance to get that. I think that window's closed now, but that demo really proved that this game's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and I'd like to see how many Slacker backers have donated since then.
Yeah, I'd love to see
since the campaign closed. Yeah.
Of course, some people might just get bigger expectations because they're getting more money, but I'm riding on, the success of this game is going to make, if this is going to be a franchise, I mean, that's just me speculating, but we want it to do well. We want it to get as much money as it possibly can. Another good quote that I've been hearing people use is Shigeru Miyamoto.
Is this going to be what I think it is?
A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad.
That was exactly what I thought it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good quote. A lot of games get delayed, especially Kickstarter games. Me and pretty much everybody else would rather have a good game than a rushed game that was forced out. It's important to keep your promises and get a release that people expect. But I don't think that the expectations were clearly set to begin with, and it's only until now that Iga said, this is the window that you can expect it. So the clarification is appreciated.
Yeah, in addition to that, it's also important to, as fans and backers, to just be flexible. Like, sometimes creative people change their mind. And, like, a lot of creative works go through multiple changes and ideas that get cut because either weren't working or they just weren't fun. Or it's like, I don't think we want to go in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes unexpected things come out and they have come up and they have to work around that as well.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that IGA's quality expectations weren't being met because that demo was so amazing.
I haven't had a chance to play the demo yet myself, but from all the video I've seen, it's like I was really impressed by it. I mean, I wasn't even expecting much to come out of E3 this year, but the demo was like really exceeded my expectations. It's like, wow, I can't believe you have this much done so far. This looks great.
Well, I know a lot of people are looking forward to playing this on console. I was able to play the demo, but is the reason that you didn't is because you have a Mac?
Yeah, it's like I've been working on trying to get a gaming PC for a while, and I have the parts I want picked out. It's just really an issue of just trying to work around my budget and other things I want.
Mm-hmm. Well, a guest came on the forums called Bloodstained Sword, and they let us know that they got Bloodstained E3 demo running on their Mac with some software called Parallels Desktop 12.
Wow, that is amazing. I probably won't actually do that because when I try and mess with my Mac or do things like that, it feels like I'm playing with fire, and I don't want to accidentally do one thing wrong and ruin everything. But I've had some really useful resource, I guess.
Yeah, well, if someone's out there that hasn't played it because they're on a Mac, they might want to try that out.
Yeah. Oh, is there some sort of expiration date for the demo? Because I remember hearing something about that, but I'm not really sure.
I don't think it's going to uninstall on our computers or anything. It's just, I think that, like, if you're a backer who hasn't backed at a certain date, I think there's a cutoff date for that.
Okay. There'll eventually be a point where we stop taking feedback specifically from the E3 demo and start focusing on the actual beta.
I think they'll be open for feedback throughout the entire process. One thing that I've seen as a concern for this delay is that the release will be out of the Wii U life cycle, and probably the PlayStation Vita. I think the Vita's life cycle's already gone, but people keep supporting that like crazy anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that has a very loyal user base. That's something I've noticed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can count the number of PS Vita owners I've encountered face-to-face, and they will defend their Vitas till the day they die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we don't know what the NX is still, and that's got to be right around the corner, but maybe it'll work for both. Maybe it'll be backwards compatible. That would
I
be
know,
awesome.
because my cousin's friend's uncle who works at Nintendo said that the NX is actually just 5 Wiimotes duct taped together and you have to spin them around your head in order to do stuff. It'll be very challenging to play Bloodstained that way, I bet.
I'd give it a shot.
Huh.
I'm used to duct taping things to myself. No.
Though, I hope the Wii U port still comes out because I know there's a lot of backers who backed it because of the Wii U stretch goal and they want something to play on it. And another one is that the company that's making the Wii U port, Armature, I live in their general area, like an hour away from them or so. Hearing that they're working on a game I'm interested in, it's like rooting for your home team at a baseball game or something like that.
Well, if they're not too far away, maybe you can go and do some correspondence for us.
Maybe I could.
That would be cool to talk to Armature.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I don't think that they're gonna just like decide not to make it for the Wii U. That was part of the plan. So yeah, a lot of backers have done that. I'm sure they won't let them down. I know Mike Tendo was like seriously wanting it to come out on the Wii U. So yeah, there's no way they're just gonna let that go by the wayside.
Yeah, and the Wii U is also, it's kind of like what I said about the Vita. Like everybody I know who has one really enjoys one and will defend it to the death.
I still use my PSP. I don't have a Vita, but I emulate on my PSP. So Iga and Mana and Michiru Yamane, they took a trip to Pixelotl in Mexico, and Yamane-san played a Bloodstained song that has never been heard live, and I got to peep a little bit of that on Periscope. I don't know if that's still up or not.
Yeah, I saw some Periscope footage as well, like 2 videos. One was like 3 minutes, and the other was like 1 minute.
Yeah, that'd be so great to see her play live.
Yeah, it'd be really cool.
Yeah, I saw that a fan presented Iga and the Bloodstained team with a Calavera skull. It was it's pretty big, you know, it was the size of an actual skull.
Yeah, and for those who don't know what a Calavera skull is, it's a little sugar candy skull that's part of Mexican traditions.
Do you think they make them out of sugar that large?
I don't know.
And how would multiple people eat it?
I guess they're all like circle around it and just like start
licking it. Yeah,
like that's some sort of communal things. Like How many licks does it take to get to the center of a sugar candy skull? Let's find out. 1, 2, 3.
It's like a really extended multiplayer version of the Pocky game.
Yeah, or a Tootsie Roll Pop.
Well, I hope that they had a great time and enjoyed themselves.
Yeah, like a little, at least get to meet some of their fans, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like, if I was in Eagle's position and I was going to a foreign country for an event like that, I'd want to meet some of my fans from around the world.
Yeah, I'm hoping that when he came here just for Bloodstained, the overwhelming amount of support that we gave him shows him that he has giant fans outside of his own country. And I know that Castlevania has a huge fan following, in South America. So they really showed him the love there in Mexico. I'm sure they did.
If you ever get to meet somebody who's created something you enjoyed, it's always good to tell them how much you enjoyed it. It'll just really make their day, really make them feel appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we've seen a continuous stream of great fan art and great fan music. TacoBot has been making some good creatures inspired by Bloodstained and sharing their art on the forums. I've been tweeting some of those out, but they look really good.
I should actually look at some of those.
Did you want to review some of his art? We can go check it out.
Oh, sure.
There you go. Yeah, so TacoBot has named and given game-like features to all of these things, and they look really cool too.
Wow, this one looks like a Pokemon, Eschara or Escara.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pun on the term escargot, which means snail, I think. That looks pretty cool. Yeah, right now I'm looking at one named Bosch. It's a little egg with a little bird in it. Its eye looks kind of like a sun.
Something about it reminds me of the Chozo from Metroid.
It says it's inspired by the artist of the same name, but it actually kind of reminded me of Johnny Young Bosch from Power Rangers and the band I Shine.
He also had Benib, a powerful and tenacious flying goathead who unleashes devastating energy beams from its evil singular eye.
So, out of all these monsters I'm seeing so far, I'd have to say my favorite is Iron Maiden because it reminds me of the band.
Maybe we can get a mummy. Its name in the game is Eddie or something. That'd be cool.
Something like that. Yeah.
Appropriately, TacoBot did a Chupacabra, which came right at the time they were going to Mexico. I thought that was pretty cool.
I think it looks more like a warthog.
I think it looks dog-like. I think it looks cute.
I think it looks kind of like a walrus.
They've been gathering up all of the fan-contributed work that was part of the Kickstarter reward tiers. Like, if you donated a certain amount, you could actually design room or weapons or monsters for the game.
Oh yeah, and there's a deadline for that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're gathering all of that stuff now. And I was talking to Cecil Kane from Operation Akamajo, and the stuff that he talked about with me on his appearance on this show, he's extending some of that stuff to the team now, and whipping up some art for it. So I got to see a little bit of that. It looks really cool, man. I hope his stuff gets in there. He's got some crazy ideas. How
cool would it be if one of the weapons everybody liked ended up being one of the ones that are designed by a backer?
Yeah, that would be you would leave your mark on gaming history, even if it's not something someone uses a lot. It's still kind of your mark on gaming history. But if it becomes something that's famous, that would be great.
Or if that's a weapon that ends up becoming useful in speed runs or something like that.
I think that the things that are done for the backer clans, like the YouTube supporters and whatnot, that you can put your credit clans, I think that those things are just cosmetic, but I think the backers who backed at certain tiers, they'll actually be able to design something useful.
Yeah, hopefully one of them will be an 8-direction whip like in Super Castlevania 4. I'll be like, come on. I love that whip.
Yeah, that's a great game.
Yeah, I remember seeing the weapon video for Update 42, and when I showed a whip, it was just didn't have the 8-direction thing, and I'm like, aww, and I was sad for about 5 seconds.
Well, we'll see. When we play with it, it might be totally different. But yeah. I like the way it actually moved like a real whip instead of just sticking straight out like a stick.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Ooh, I just realized something.
What's that?
What? You know how there's a backer exclusive sword whip weapon?
Mm-hmm.
What if that ends up being an 8-directional whip like Super Castlevania?
That would be cool. That would be probably something other people would want, even if they weren't a backer. So I don't know if I would make it exclusive.
Yeah, and even though I'm backer, I hope that the backer weapon becomes available in some other way later on.
Well, I don't know. Some of those things
Uh,
should be special just for backers.
uh,
But that's a controversial issue.
yeah, it's like I'm kind of on the other side of the fence here. It's like I just like the idea of letting everybody try and get their hands on everything. But
All right, so there's been a few covers of the Galleon Minerva theme that some fans have whipped up too. So aside from awesome like visual art, we're also getting some great tunes done too. So I've heard a couple of new remixes, and those have been added to my little playlist that I've got on my YouTube channel. And also, you can always find plenty of remixes out on the forums. All that stuff is posted there, and people have been really good lately with posting fan art in the art section.
is there somebody you want to give a shout out to, Mike?
There's
In the
someone,
fan art for it?
yeah, for giving us so much. I think Crocodile has been posting plenty of the various art that you can find on the internet and bringing it right to the forums so no one will miss it.
Yeah, I like to imagine that he opens up his mouth and people just kind of like bring the fan art in, kind of like the little birds on crocodiles that kind of pick and clean the teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I also like to pretend that Crocodile is also a real crocodile.
He is.
Instead of just some guy. Oh, wow, really? Seriously? Oh, sweet.
Right. And Dragon KD is really a dragon. I think he's been working on a remix of the Gallia Minerva theme too.
Oh, nice. Yeah, though I can't listen to the Gallium Minerva theme without reaching that one part that sounds like a whole new world. And getting that whole visual image of like Aladdin and Jasmine on a flying carpet. I just can't wait for the eventual Siva Gunner mashup where they take the Gallium Minerva theme and mix it with a whole new world from Aladdin. Do you follow that channel, Siva Gunner?
No.
It's a silly channel. They do a lot of remixes, inside jokes, memes with video game audio remixes.
I'll be sure to check them out.
Oh.
So Maker on the forums brought up the idea of having an item in the game that when it's equipped, it lets you do like stunning damage, but it makes you die from just a little damage. I think Iga has put similar items in his previous games. What do you think about that?
It sounds alright. Sounds cool. I probably wouldn't use it, but I like the idea of having that option available.
Luck% SRL said, yes, it would be really fun incentive for speedrunning the game, but every time he's encountered this type of item in a Castlevania game, he's always put it on, raged, unequipped it, and then felt like he was doing damage with the toothpick after he was used to doing so much other damage. So I can see, why that wouldn't be cool, but maybe for speedrunners it might be. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it definitely changed the way you approach your game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be interesting. It's like, I don't know how much mileage I'd get out of it, but it'd be cool to check out.
Yeah, and I think single items that can just totally change the way the game is played is good as long as it's got some kind of counterbalance to it.
Yeah.
Nikita on the forums was wondering if shard combos might be in Bloodstained, because in the menus in the demo, you can equip a trigger shard and a directional shard, and they're wondering if maybe those could lead to some kind of combined effects.
If that ends up being something players can do in the game, I cannot wait to see which combo ends up being the one overpowered combo everybody uses in multiplayer and speedruns, ultimately dominating the metagame.
Yeah, it would be kind of hard to balance unless it's based on, they do different damage types to different enemies, so some enemies aren't weak to fire, so you have to kind of keep switching it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be boring if all of the combos did the same amount of damage. So
Yeah, it's like the whole combining shards does sound really actually pretty cool. I just kind of worry about how they'll balance everything. Well, if they do go that route.
in Portrait of Ruin, they had some really cool combos, and just the way I played it, I didn't find one that was just insanely just usable throughout most of the game or anything. If you got something, you kind of had to earn it.
I like hitting enemies in the face with pies in that game.
I like eating peanuts. That's random as hell. I'm sorry. I meant in Symphony of the Night, you can eat the peanuts. That's what I meant.
Yeah, it's like I think I remember Portrait of Ruin. It's like, was that one where you could like get into the boss fight with Richter, hit him with a pie, and just gets killed in one hit?
Can you pie Richter in the face for a one-hit kill? because that's a really tough fight, actually.
Maybe I'm thinking of a paper airplane.
I don't know. I don't remember ever throwing a pie, to be honest.
Oh,
Now I feel like I've missed out on something.
yeah. Now I feel I should go play Portrait of Ruin again.
You should. We all should.
Yes.
So Pure Miriam on the forums brought up that Iga had said in an interview that Bloodstained would likely have quests. So quest in Bloodstained was something that we saw in Portrait of Ruin and OOE. What do you think about quest enhancing the exploration factor of the game?
Depends on how it's done. I mean, I was kind of indifferent towards how they did it in Portrait of Ruin and Order of Ecclesia, but I don't want to say flat out no to an idea. I mean, how an idea is implemented is more important than the idea itself.
In Harmony of Dissonance, Yuste, I guess that's how you say Juste with the accent. I think Yuste had to collect all the furniture, and Galamoth recently showed us on the forums that actually changes the end of the game. So that's kind of an overarching quest that you really need to complete if you want to see the best ending.
Huh.
So,
yeah,
there's always the multiple ending type factors to the games, and well, I don't know if we'll see that in Bloodstained or not. But I like item collection stuff, like maybe filling out your bestiary, your lore, things like that.
Yeah, because a lot of times I hear quests and I think, go defeat 5 enemies, or whatever, or go backtrack, or it's like, go and grind this, or go and grind for this ingredient, or go find these crafting ingredients, or something like that. I remember as one Order of Ecclesia that took me like 2 hours of grinding to actually find.
This is probably going to be more like the achievements on a game where you have to downward dash someone's head like 10 times in a row or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll be like achievements, or maybe they'll be more like we saw in the previous games.
Yeah, there's still a lot we don't know, and it all just kind of goes back to, does Iga actually want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
And does he do it the way he wants to do?
Yeah, you got to be careful with gimmicks in games because they can kind of taint the atmosphere. Canopus from Operation Akamajo let me in on something cool. Final Fantasy VI, or 3 in America. If you ever wondered why you could always find an elixir in the clocks, he said it was a belief by those who practice alchemy that you can make the elixir of life by storing it in a clock. Many European recipes specify that elixir is to be stored in clocks to amplify the effects of immortality on the user. And I think it would be cool to implement it into Bloodstained because of the alchemy aspect, and, Iga's a fan of giant clocks. So finding some in the clock tower or something like that I think would fit in perfectly.
I just think it'd be really neat if Gebel's castle actually just turned out to be some sort of giant clock and there's a giant elixir behind it the entire time.
So he made, from what we know, Jabel made this castle for Miriam, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that could work into that somehow? I don't know. Because
Happy birthday, Miriam. I made this giant clock castle for you. There's an elixir behind it.
Well, I just like any kind of trivia about Final Fantasy, so that was a cool find, and maybe it'll influence him. I don't know if Iga's aware of something like that.
Yeah.
So Leo Le Wolfro, I guess that's how you say his name. How would you pronounce his name?
I just call him Leo Wolfperson.
Well, our good friend Leo Wolfperson on the forums has accomplished a stunning feat in the E3 demo. They have level grinded Miriam to level 99. XP seemed to accumulate beyond level 99. She would get the animations for leveling up, but the stats and stuff kind of was capped off at 99. So that's a pretty crazy feat.
Yeah, that's neat. How long did it take for him to reach that point?
It took Leo 27 hours and 50 minutes that he logged to reach level 99.
What?
Yeah. So congratulations, Leo Le Wolfro. I'm sure you're the only one who can claim that title. That's pretty amazing.
I wish I had 27 hours and 50 minutes to play the Bloodstained demo. And something to actually play the Bloodstained demo on.
Yeah. Well, we'll be able to pour our hours into it. I wonder, I plan on spending more than 27 hours and 50 minutes in the main game, so when it finally comes out. So I kind of expect to be level 99.
Yeah.
All right. So what else would you like to talk about?
Well, one thing I talk about is like Bloodstained and other mediums, like transmedia tie-ins, things like that.
Oh yeah, like Iga said that he's open to expanding the IP beyond the game. It's just that he's going to focus on the game first.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. Is like have the whole game at like a center, and each tie in like a novel or a comic. I kind of like the way Iga said he'd approach it. It's like just focus on the game because one of my favorite things in the world is Star Wars, and I like how they had the movies at the center, and all the things like the video games, the books, and all the other cartoons were just extra stuff you don't really need to know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of like off in its little corner of the universe or whatever.
Yeah, it kind of expands upon the world without affecting the main core canon of the story.
Like, for example, if Zangetsu got his own 6-issue comic book miniseries, players shouldn't have to read that in order to understand his story in Bloodstained, or vice versa. It could be just, hey, a really cool miniseries that lasted 6 issues.
Yeah.
And it still have like the same setting and characters, but you don't need knowledge of either in order to kind of enjoy it.
Well, what kind of expanded stuff would you like to see other than a comic book?
Well, one thing I'd like to see is like maybe some sort of audio drama or something like that, because you could get the actors from Bloodstain, have them perform a script or a miniseries or whatever, and just like tell some sort of story before the game happened and take advantage of that medium.
Yeah, that would be cool.
They're relatively cheap. It's like old radio plays. Like I listened to some of those when I was like in middle school about one called The Shadow. I thought it was just like the coolest thing ever. It's just like all these old timey actors pretend to be like superheroes and gangsters. I'm like, wow, this is just really such a thrilling adventure on a small budget.
Yeah, I think that some kind of audio show like that, not only would that be awesome for the voice actors because they're getting more work, but it would help flesh out the setting and the world a lot, and also, of course, the characters.
Yeah, like maybe it could be like some sort of prequel where Miriam, Johannes, and Gebel go on some sort of Stand By Me style adventure. Like, hey, you want to go see a dead body? Sure. And the plot twist is that the dead body is actually Zangetsu sleeping somewhere in a ditch. It's like, ugh. It's like, he's awake. Leave me alone, you stupid kids. Go away. And he just farts and falls back to sleep.
You're painting quite a picture of Zangetsu for me.
Yeah. And then it turns out that the entire lesson that they learn is that the real dead body was the adventure they had along the way because it was such a disappointment.
Let's hope it doesn't go like that. But as far as an audio adventure, it does sound like a cool idea. So you heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
Goobsausage is getting the flame lit for an audio expanded Bloodstained universe.
I don't know. I just think it'd be cool.
Who would you like to see as voice actors? Of course, we have David Hayter on the list.
Yeah. This is actually kind of a tough question because who I answer with will probably change depending on what day of the week it is or what mood I'm in. Because there's a lot of good actors out there I'd like to see. If money was not an object, I'd love it if Jeff Goldblum was Johannes.
Oh my god. Seriously? Okay.
I think it'd be cool. Like, according to this scroll, the alchemy ingredients are right over there.
Yeah.
And we need more human livers and organs.
Oh, dear Lord.
Don't ask me why, Miriam.
Well,
yeah.
It's kind of weird. Who else is the voice actors that we need for Bloodstained?
Michael Ironside as Zangetsu. Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell. Well, I think it'd be really neat if Michael Ironside was in it, so we'd finally have the whole Solid Snake versus Sam Fisher encounter in some way, shape, or form. It's like David Hayter, Michael Ironside, Solid Snake, and Sam Fisher. It'd be like, yay, we finally got the two of them together after all these years. Hooray!
Oh, so they would have to obviously play rivals.
Or do they? Yeah, and another reason that I kind of want to see Michael Ironside as Zangetsu is that in the movie Starship Troopers and The Machinist, in both of those movies, he plays somebody who loses their arm at some point. Zangetsu already looks like he's missing his arm. I'm like, maybe we could try and continue that Michael Ironside tradition in some way.
I like it. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Who would you like to see play Miriam? Or hear, not see, I guess. Of course, I heard someone suggest Jennifer Hale.
She's always a good choice.
Yeah, can't go wrong.
Ashley Birch. Ashley Birch, maybe, because I heard she was really good in Life is Strange. I liked her work on Hey Ash, What You Playing? It depends on what we want to do with the character. And it's like, I think she'd be fine. Do something different, a bit more dramatic and different. Yeah, but I know he's listed a few big name actors and all that, but ultimately, I'm fine with whoever as long as they pretty much fit the role and they're what the creative people want in the game.
Yeah, hopefully whoever they get will be up for doing future games, because if it turns into a super popular and famous franchise, we'll need them back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, you don't want to get in a situation where like, oh no, Jeff Goldblum can't come back. Time to kill him. Time to kill him.
Kill him off. Yeah, who could replace Jeff Goldblum?
We'll be like, wow, Johannes, you sound different. You sound like Hayden Christensen now. Or something, whatever like that.
If Tim and Eric can get Jeff Goldblum, we can too.
Yeah, I mean, I figure it's fun to pretend. It's fun to speculate. There's probably no chance we'll get either any of those actors, but it would be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, was there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I wanted to once again congratulate you for being the first to find the forum secret. Found it within 30 minutes. So yeah, good job on that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and I found that entirely by luck. Yeah, it's more like, because once I remember you announcing the secret on the forums. I'm like, there's a secret on the forums, and my instincts just went, it's probably the Pokemon, and then I entered the Pokemon.
Yeah,
and I got it.
Yeah,
it was within 30 minutes.
I was afraid that my hints would have been too subtle for anyone to get, and you took that and blew that expectation right out very quickly. So I thought, okay, everybody's going to get it. But no, there were people that were still trying and trying. So I thought it was really fun.
Yeah.
And they can still do it today. So if you haven't tried it, turn your speakers on and you might do these while you're on the forum.
Yeah.
Obviously, it won't work on mobile.
Yeah, and because of one, I got to record a message of everything I wanted, and it ended up being the Lammy Lammy dance from Gravity Falls.
Yeah, that happened.
It was amusing. Yeah, I'd be like, if you listen to that and were like, this is bizarre, I would like to apologize.
Well, we love having you on the forums. It's good to actually talk to you, and
yeah, it's good to talk to you too, Mike.
Thanks. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll look forward to seeing more of your posts and cracking codes and whatever else may come your way.
Yeah. Oh, I just remembered. Recently on Facebook, for Bloodstained Facebook page, they posted a picture of a documentary of a camera crew recording Iga.
I wonder if they're just shooting another like Ask Iga video, or is someone like doing a documentary on him?
I don't know.
Yeah. So they posted a picture that said professional camera crew in our office. I wonder what they're recording. They're recording Iga in a chair. That's the only thing I can tell.
Yeah, maybe it's a mystery. Maybe it's like some sort of behind-the-scenes documentary that will come out eventually. Maybe it's a secret surprise, and we'll find out what it is later.
I'm sure we will.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah, can't wait to hear from Iga again.
Yeah, he seems like a cool guy. I'd hang out with him.
Yeah, I'd definitely throw a few beers back with Iga and Ben Judd.
Yeah.
So did you want to give any shout-outs?
No.
Well, that about wraps our show up, and I really appreciate you coming on, Goobsausage. It was a pleasure talking to you, man.
I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on here.
Yep. And for everyone listening, I look forward to seeing you on the forums. See you later.
Bye.
Well, Army of the Night, that about does it for tonight's episode. But before we go, I have a little treat for you. Trojan Horse has made a Family Tracker Bits version of the Gallia Minerva Bloodstained. You can go over to his YouTube channel by just searching for Trojan Horse or Family Tracker Bits, and I'm sure you'll find that this remix is out there. Here you go. Enjoy.